everyone, and welcome to another edition of TEDXcellence, the show in which I find out that I'm actually not worth anything at all because I'm worth something. At least my mom thinks I'm cool. And I come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dogcat Fox, a Pepperjack, and all of you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturday. Saturated Saturday. I'm sure it's raining somewhere. Oh, everyone. What a week. What a week. What a couple of days. It's been a busy, busy, busy time here in the wonderful US of A. But that's for another show. Today, we have something far more important to talk about. And that's merit. And specifically, the tyranny of merit. You know, that oppressive force in everyone's life. Talent and effort and skill that sets you apart as an individual versus all the masses. I have no idea where the title of this is going to take us today, but I'm happy to find out with all of you. And who is all of you? Why, that would be Mike R. Hello. That one servant of Satania. Hello. No room for squares. Hello. Asian hippie. Hello. Tall person. Hello. Saint Michael. Hello. Zach Osborne. Hello. Keeverdam. Hello. Ryan. Simply Ryan. Hello. Check your logic. Hello. Black belt for Christ. Hello. Advocatus Diaboli. Hello. Zeke Weiss, hello. That Luke Skywalker. The Luke Skywalker, too. Hello. Corey Suzuki, hello. Saxon Ross, hello. The gayest person on YouTube. Hello. Robert Lapine, hello. Tall person. Thank you so much. Happy International Red Panda Day, everybody. As someone revs their engine up in the background. Red Panda Day. Isn't that, what was the suit that Mario wore in Super Mario Brothers 3 that gave him the raccoon tail? Was that a red panda, or is that something else? No, it was Tanuki. Is it Tanuki a red panda? I don't know. I have images like rolling around in my brain. All of a sudden we say red panda. I know we have a viewer named the Happy Red Panda. I wonder if Happy Red Panda is having a day today. This is how my mind works, guys. I've been up since 4 a.m. because reasons, and been doing a whole bunch of stuff in the interim until now. So bear with me. But not Panda with me, because with me is a Dogcat Fox. Crimson Tiger, hello. Cody Bassett, hello. Irate Prostate, hello. Evil One, hello. John Sislowski, hello. Wade Willison, hello. No Name, hello. Brian Has Opinions, formerly the Broken Baller, hello. I'm going to jump over my own tongue here. Keenan, hello. Jaeger Pony, hello. Viror of Ashmedai, hello. Killer Turnus, hello. Buddy C. Buddy, hello. Lexi Mads, hello. Old Grouchy Gamer, hello. Oh my gosh, so many people, so little time. Thrashy, hello. No One Nowhere, hello. And I think that's everybody. Mostly, I think. Everybody. Lurking Gopher, hello, in case I missed you. Okay, guys. All that is preamble. So, per usual, make sure you have your bingo card ready. I have mine. Link is in the description. It is a new bingo card if you've missed the last episode or so. I did a little shuffle of the squares, so we're all fresh again. Thank you, this is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. The suit is called the Tanuki suit, and a Tanuki is a mythological Japanese creature with giant balls. Okay, then. Well, with that as preamble, I will start off with a few seconds for sound test. You guys tell me if you can hear this. This is an actual TED Talk, if you can tell by the screen, not a TEDx. This is an official, like, high smarty TED Talk. So it must be, on a higher level than regular TEDx talks. It also has a bit of artificial applause at the beginning. So I'll use that piece as the sound test before our speaker begins speaking. You guys tell me if you can hear it, and then we will proceed. Okay, you guys hear all the fake applause there? Let me know. Lady Gopher, thank you so much for the Dogcat Fox. We're number one. We're number one. Evil One says, good. Anakin Plays says, hey, Scribe. Hey, Anakin. And Cress Pierce says, good. All right. Let us begin with the tyranny of merit.
Here's a question we should all be asking.
Okay.
What went wrong?
What went wrong? with...
Not just with the pandemic, but with our civic life. What brought us to this polarized, rancorous political moment?
This polarized, rancorous political moment has been in perpetuity since around November 2016. I don't know if you noticed all of the polarized, rancorous division and so on for the last 4 years, but it was well on its way before the pandemic hit. So, yeah. And as far as the most recent upheavals, I would say it's primarily opportunists taking advantage of an already chaotic situation and few people out in the streets to cause a lot of, well, destruction for no justifiable reason. But maybe that's just me.
In recent decades, the divide between winners and losers has been deepening.
Are you talking about the divide of wealth gap, let's say? The 1% versus the 99% and so on? If that's what you mean, then sure. Income inequality is probably at a bigger difference now than it was many years ago. But then I'm not an economist, so I only go off of what the experts tell me.
Poisoning our politics, setting us apart.
Politics have always been poison. Politics have always divided. Setting us apart is kind of how we operate. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we operate under, essentially a two-party system. Maybe you weren't aware. And that's been going on for quite a while.
This divide is partly about inequality.
Yeah.
But it's also about the attitudes toward winning and losing that have come with it.
Not necessarily. It has a lot to do with differences in values, differences in priorities, differences in philosophies about what is important in life or how to solve problems and so on. This divide is ideologically based, certainly, but it's not just about winning and losing, unless you're talking about different ideas about how to win better or lose worse, I suppose. But okay.
Those who landed on top came to believe that their success was their own doing.
Oh. So.
A measure of their merit, and that those who lost out had no one to blame but themselves.
It all depends on the individual. There are millionaires out there who inherited all their money and never lifted a finger to earn it. There are millionaires out there who did all the work, had the good idea, or put in all the effort, and earned what people were willing to pay them. There are hard workers out there who don't have much because of circumstance, because of poor choices, or a combination of the two. Same goes for rich people. Because as we know, there's never been a rich person or a famous person who's ever killed themselves or squandered their wealth or anything like that. Okay, if we're going to generalize about the 1% has a lot of money and they don't deserve it. Okay, well, how much money do you have as compared to, say, me or a poor person? Well, that disparity means that you should just, divest yourself of all your wealth? Or did you actually earn your money? I don't know. Tell me your story. And I'll tell you that there's a story for every person you're lumping together.
This way of thinking about success arises from a seemingly attractive principle.
Okay.
If everyone has an equal chance, the winners deserve their winnings.
Nobody has an equal chance. There is no equal chance in life. The best we can do is, under law, put in place mechanisms that prevent unfair treatment to be done without legal consequence. But no one has an equal chance in life. Everybody's born into different circumstances. And everybody makes of their circumstances what they can or what they do. So I think you're starting off on a, I mean, if you're telling me what people think or how people justify wealth inequality, then you're correct to criticize that belief because it's not true. Is that where we're going?
This is the heart of the meritocratic ideal.
Uh-huh.
In practice, of course, we fall far short. Not everybody has an equal chance to rise.
No one has an equal chance to rise. And of course, I need to know what your metric is by rise. But like I said, everybody starts out differently. Rich people can squander their money and end up on the street. A poor person could find a way to become a millionaire. It's different for everyone. There's effort, there's skill, there's talent, there's luck. All of these things can go into it. None of us start off on equal footing with anybody else necessarily. And you make with what you have what you decide to make it. I could be a drug addict living in a gutter right now if I'd made different decisions in my life. Thankfully, I didn't, so I'm not. But nothing was stopping me from going that direction if I'd chosen to.
Children born to poor families tend to stay poor when they grow up.
Okay. And is that their fault or is it society's fault? Is someone keeping them down? Are they without merit because they're poor? Now, thank you, Corey Suzuki. I thought he said equal chance to riot. Equal chance to rise, I think, something like that.
Affluent parents are able to pass their advantages on to their kids.
Their advantages which they maybe earned, and they have the privilege to do so because they earned the money. We talked about this a little bit with the diversity consultation live stream a couple of shows back. Not a TEDx, but all the same, where the speaker was talking about the unearned privilege she had of having her college paid for by her parents. Except if you listen to her story about her parents were immigrants to a foreign country, worked their way up from working class to middle class, and then paid for her college. So they earned the money in order to have the privilege of sending their daughter to college. And yet she was classifying her ability to go to college on someone else's dime as some unearned privilege that thus, I don't know, scarred her to her soul or something. It really is a matter of perspective, and also selling other people short to make yourself feel, I don't know, victimized.
At Ivy League universities, for example, there are more students from the top 1% than from the entire bottom half of the country combined.
That's because Ivy League schools are ridiculously expensive. And I would also be very curious to know whether or not that ridiculously expensive education is actually worth anything these days, given what we've seen happen at Ivy League schools when it comes to the humanities and so on. But that's another story.
But the problem isn't only that we failed to live up to the meritocratic principles we proclaim.
What do you mean, fail to live up to them? What do you mean, fail? Who are you talking about? What are you talking about? Getting ready to make some circles on the board here. I'm giving this guy a little leeway because I was curious to see what he would say. Also, just because Ivy League schools are, well, Ivy League schools and so on, does that mean you can't get a quality education in a non-Ivy League school for less money? I mean, do you have to go to an Ivy League school? Is an Ivy League school inherently the best education money can buy? Or is it just the most expensive education money can buy? I wonder.
The ideal itself is flawed. It has a dark side.
Ooh.
Meritocracy is corrosive of the common good.
Meritocracy is corrosive of the common good. Okay, well, let's go to the board, guys. Let's go to the card real quick. Free space, I'm going to circle. Wage gap, I'm going to circle because he's effectively brought up income inequality, and so on. So we're going to go for that. Let's see. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. Has not yet. He may do so. Marginalize marginalization. Not yet. Mind reading assumes motives. Well, he's already made a blanket statement about what people think and how we all believe the world to operate. So I'm going to circle yes. Mind reading assumes motives. Plays victim. Well, he hasn't played the victim yet, but he might get there. Equity. No, he hasn't said it yet. Word salad. I've understood what he said. Self-vilification or wretchedness. No, not yet. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. No. Feminism. No. Childhood or family anecdote. He hasn't talked about himself. Excuse me. Benevolent condescension. I'm fairly certain we will have a more clear example of that as we proceed. He's already kind of stepped on that one, but I want to give him a bit more rope before we move on. Systemic institutional. I'd be surprised if we don't get there. Patriarchy, no. Contradicts own point or argument. Let's give him some more time. Toxic, no. Privilege. He hasn't said the word, has he? I know I have. So, okay, we'll wait on that one. Weightless example. He hasn't given us any examples yet, per se. Leaves out vital context. Yeah, he already kind of has done that, but I want to give him another minute or two. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. I have a feeling we might get to an aggregate one on that one. We'll see. Takes credit for something done or experienced by others in their demographic. Not yet. Maybe not. White supremacy, no. A list, not yet. Anecdote that probably never happened. Hasn't given us any anecdotes. So there's a couple of maybes right now after the first couple minutes. We'll see where he goes. But yes, tell us about the corrupting influence of meritocracy.
It leads to hubris among the winners.
It leads to hubris among the winners. Is that hubris or maybe pride, like earned pride? Are you jealous or something? I mean, don't get me wrong. You can have a sore winner. All right. You can have somebody who gets all arrogant about themselves because they win. But hubris, really? Doesn't that become that person's problem? How does that become your problem? And if I succeed in a task I work towards and I get happy about that, is that hubris? Or is that justifiable pride? And if you see it as hubris, what does that say about you?
And humiliation among those who lose out.
Okay, if there's a race and 7 people are in the race and 1 wins and 6 others lose, or at least don't come in first, that's life. And you either deal with failure in a healthy way or you don't. You use the experience to try and better yourself for the next time around, or you throw up your hands in the air and give up. The winner is not responsible for your sense of self-esteem. I hate to tell you that. I don't know if maybe you've won or lost anything in your life, but losing is part of life. And winning is not a sin.
It encourages the successful to inhale too deeply.
It encourages the successful to inhale too deep. You know, I think this talk needs to be renamed as the tyranny of envy.
Of their success, to forget the luck and good fortune that helped them on their way.
Oh, and you're just going to ignore any possible skill, dedication, talent, hard work that might have actually pushed them over the line, more so than luck? Maybe.
And it leaves them to look down on those less fortunate, less credentialed than themselves. Okay,
well, now that's making an assumption about people, isn't it? Now, if I hadn't already circled mind reading, I would have. You know, I'm going to wait and see if he talks about himself, but he's speaking as someone, or at least coming across as somebody who is jealous, is envious, has perhaps failed several times in life or made bad choices and decided to blame it on somebody else. So if he doesn't get more personal in aggregate by the end of this, I'm going to circle plays victim. Okay.
This matters for politics. One of the most potent sources of the populist backlash is the sense among many working people that elites look down on them.
Well, I guess it all depends on who you are and your situation and your experience with quote unquote elites. Personally, I don't think the quote unquote elites think about me at all. I'm kind of a very pessimistic person on that end. When I think of my local politicians and stuff, I figure that half the time they're actually thinking about getting their job done. The other half of the time they're thinking about fundraising. And that's about it. And as far as the half of the time that they're getting their job done, they can't think about me as an individual. Right? I mean, they may meet individuals out on the campaign trail. They may have some direct experience from their own lives prior to becoming a politician as to what the real life of people is. And they might still understand that, certainly. But no one can know or care about everyone. You care about causes. You care about individual people. You care about sort of constructs of people that you know and extending that out to others to sort of have a sensation of what it must be like for certain demographics or certain people and so on. Now, looking down on them, I guess it, again, comes down to the individual. Do you have somebody who's been so entrenched in politics for so long that they've lost any sense of connection to the common man? They think they're better than everybody else. You got a Nancy Pelosi going to get her hair cut at a salon that should be closed, but opens just specially for her, and then she turns around and throws under the bus after the fact. Yeah, I say Nancy Pelosi looks down on the common people. Sure. But again, this would have to come across by individual action, individual decisions, and, dare I say, individual merit. So, I have a disconnect from the politicians, sure. I might assume neutrality at worst with most politicians. But then if I see a politician actually do something that at least reflects to me they give a rip, I'll change my mind about that politician. So if you're going to lump everybody into one big bucket and ignore individual characteristics, then, well, I guess you would hate meritocracy, because ignoring meritocracy is a convenient way not to actually get to know people.
It's a legitimate complaint. Even as globalization brought deepening inequality and stagnant wages, its proponents offered workers some bracing advice. If you want to compete and win in the global economy, go to college.
Well, education is a gateway to better jobs. It's true. And what was our unemployment rate, 7-8 months ago? What was that again? Before the pandemic, before the natural disaster effectively hit us all? Right. Okay. But yeah, so we shouldn't go to college then? Is that what the message is here? Don't go to college?
What you earn depends on what you learn.
Well, sort of. I mean, what you earn depends on what you earn. Earn, not what you're given or something. And again, it comes down to personal choice. You could make a decision to take a job with a company that pays X amount of money instead of taking a job with a company that pays Y amount of money, which 2 years later goes public, and you could have been making bazillions amounts of money. Sometimes it's chance, sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's hard work. Sometimes it's all about, what are your goals in life? Do you care about making tons of money? Do you want to put yourself through the stress necessary to do that in most cases? Or do you just want to make enough to live on and relax the rest of the time? I don't know. But yes, education is a gateway to better wages, technically. I mean, most of the times, a diploma just shows an employer that you can achieve a goal. that you're someone who has been able to dedicate their time and their energy and their focus to get something done. I mean, and I know in my case, my English major isn't exactly some golden ticket to anything. It's essentially just a rubber stamp that says, hey, this person can actually sit down and do work and achieve a long-term goal. So I have at least some evidence before hiring this person that they're not inherently a slacker. You know, I have some evidence that they'll actually work towards getting something done. That's sometimes all you get out of it. Unless you're going into something very specialized, you know, like engineering or mathematics or chemistry or something else. Yeah, education does open up a door. You're right. Okay, so what about that?
You can make it if you try.
Well, you certainly won't make it if you don't try. There's no guarantees in life, though, but, you know, I guess it depends on what you tell kids versus what you tell adults.
These elites missed the insult implicit in this advice.
What?
If you don't go to college, if you don't flourish in the new economy, your failure is your fault.
It depends on the person. Why don't you give us some examples? Hell, I'll take hypothetical examples at this point. Just give me an example of someone who is suffering in the absence of merit, but under the oppression of the elites. Tell me something.
That's the implication.
Yes, that is the implication. Do you have any evidence, or at least give me an active example to work with here?
It's no wonder many working people turned against meritocratic elites.
What?
So what should we do?
Okay, I have to make assumptions here because he's not telling me anything, and thus I'm going to circle leaves out vital context. But in that vein, is he referring to the election of Donald Trump? I'm assuming he's referring to the election of Donald Trump. Turning their backs on elites, is that what he said? Donald Trump, the billionaire? And again, maybe he's not talking about Trump. I don't know what he's talking about because he hasn't told us yet. But it's like, okay, you had Hillary. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna make some assumptions here. In the most recent presidential election, you had Hillary Clinton, a longtime Washington, D.C. insider, former First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State, and then zillionaire as compared to most people, right? Okay, how many houses she owned and all this. And they had Donald Trump, a game show host, billionaire, real estate tycoon. Well, retail tycoon too, I'm sure. And the electorate was split almost evenly between the two. And who turned their backs on elites? All we had was elites. But again, I'm guessing as to what he's talking about because I don't know, because he won't tell us.
We need to rethink 3 aspects of our civic life.
Okay, 3 aspects. That is a list. Circling a list.
The role of college,
okay,
the dignity of work, and the meaning of success.
The role of college, the dignity of work, and the meaning of success. Okay. You know, the meaning of success, I was challenged by that notion many, many years ago. I was at a friend's house, and one of their relatives was talking about, I forget exactly how the conversation started, but they said something to the effect of, it came up and I was asked what I do for a living. And I said what I did. And at the time, I was really pretty much my first real job out of college. And, you know, I had my first, little apartment, and I was just kind of on my own for the first time completely since college. And I said what I did. It wasn't anything fancy, but then, it's my first job. And this person, who was about my age, I'd say, maybe a year younger, maybe a year older, they said, well, I'm more successful than you are. And I'm quoting verbatim here. I was like, okay. I said, I guess it depends on what you mean by success. And they said, well, I make more money than you do. I'm like, Okay, but I don't necessarily judge success by my bank account. Just about anything I put my mind to, I do well at. I've done well at my job since I've been there. I earn my own money. I make my own way. I don't have to depend on anybody for anything. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money, but I also am not dependent or reliant on anyone but myself. And in my book, that's a kind of success. And who knows where I'll go in the years to come, So there. Anyway, I just a bit of a tangent there, but I'm curious to know where he goes with point number 3, because the role of college and work, I don't know, but the whole definition of success, to thine own self be true on that one.
We should begin by rethinking the role of universities as arbiters of opportunity.
Universities are not arbiters of opportunity, or at least they shouldn't be. I suppose they could be, depending on, well, again, it depends on what you as the student decide to do. How much initiative do you take to make use of the resources at college or at the university to leverage those things into a specific career opportunity? I mean, I could just go to school, go to the classes, earn my diploma, walk away, and do no other work. I'd have a diploma from the college, but maybe I didn't take advantage of all the possibilities and opportunities available to me at the college. That would take my taking the initiative. Does the university decide that?
For those of us who spend our days in the company of the credentialed, it's easy to forget a simple fact. Most people don't have a 4-year college degree.
Yeah. So go to a trade school or apprentice somewhere, or pick yourself up and take the initiative to make up for what you don't have. What do you want? What are you asking for? What are you advocating for here?
In fact, nearly 2/3 of Americans don't. So it is folly to create an economy that makes a university diploma a necessary condition of dignified work and a decent life.
What is undignified about janitorial work? What is undignified about checking out at the grocery store? What is undignified about stocking a shelf at a store? What is more dignified in being a hedge fund manager? If you get up every day and you go to work and you earn an honest dollar, that is as dignified as it gets in my book. I don't care if you're a garbage man or a CEO. If you get up every day and do your job, there's dignity in work because you're earning your own money and paying your own way. I think you, dear speaker, are categorizing the quality of someone's existence on the basis of their job. Consequently, I'm going to circle, where'd it go? I moved all these things around and I can't find it now. Benevolent condescension. Benevolent condescension has been circled. Tell me more about the stratification of dignity in job placement.
Encouraging people to go to college is a good thing. Broadening access for those who can't afford it is even better.
I agree. On that point, we can agree. The idea that there is some availability for college, community college or otherwise for people, some kind of, financial assistance that doesn't necessarily have to be paid back to get the basics down, to at least get your AA or maybe your BA or something, to be supplemented by the state in some fashion. I don't necessarily disagree with that notion. It depends on how it's done. But given the fact that we don't live in an economy anymore where a high school diploma is enough necessarily to get your foot in the door, things have elevated the point of at least a college degree. I think likewise that maybe the initial stages of college should be in some way, shape, or form supplemented by the state in order to encourage people to get a higher education and have more opportunities in the workforce. Again, how that is done is up for debate, but I don't disagree with the notion.
But this is not a solution to inequality. We should focus less on arming people for meritocratic combat.
What?
And focus more on making life better for people who lack a diploma, but who make essential contributions to our society.
What? Okay, so people who lack a diploma aren't meritorious? What? Okay, I got to back up and listen to that again. I'm sorry, guys. That just washed over me in a cloud of what? And it might be word salad territory, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss something here. So I'm going to back up a few seconds. Let's try that again.
Encouraging people to go to college is a good thing.
Yes, encouraging people to go to college is a good thing. Sure. Yes, okay.
Broadening access for those who can't afford it is even better.
Yes, we agree on that, certainly.
But this is not a solution to inequality.
There will never be a solution to inequality. We will never live in an equitable world. And even if we did, whose definition of equitable? There's no such thing as equality of outcome. We can do everything we can under law and policy and just common purpose to create as many equal opportunities as we can, but you're never going to have an equitable society. You're never going to be able to eliminate inequality. Because here's the thing, dude, you're old, and I'm not as old as you. I can physically do more things than you can. That's not going to change day to day to day, short of me going into some kind of, altered physical state that I don't want to think about. But other than that, that's inequality. You want to eliminate it? Okay, give me all of your money until you and I have the same amount of money. Right? Give me all your possessions. But even then, you're going to be old, and I'm not. What are you asking for?
We should focus less on arming people for meritocratic combat.
We should focus less on arming people for meritocratic combat. What the hell does that mean? Okay. Word salad. Arming people for meritocratic combat. What are you talking about? Okay. You're saying that people who are in college versus the people that aren't in college are somehow being corrupted by the meritocratic system, and yet you want to open college up to those who can't afford it, which would then make them part of that arming for meritocratic combat, right? So which is it? Is being armed for meritocratic God, I can't even say the word. Thank you, Pepperjack. Meritocratic combat. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? And if it's a bad thing, wouldn't you want to keep more and more people away from that rather than open up opportunities for them to gain it? What are you saying?
And focus more on making life better for people who lack a diploma, but who make essential contributions to our society.
What do you mean? Making life better? So the people who just can't get into college for whatever reason, make life better. Make life better how? What is the essential quality and condition of someone who doesn't have a college diploma? How is their life somehow in detriment inherently simply on the basis of not having a diploma? What is the common factor that we have to make life better for non-diploma people? What are you talking about? At no point so far have you given an active example. Have you cited any studies? Have you given us any numbers? I wish I had more than one square called leaves out vital context, because we'd have like 7 bingos by now.
We should renew the dignity of work.
We should renew the dignity of work. When did the dignity of work disappear? You're the one denigrating people who are working anything below a college level, whatever job. How dignified is it to tell someone that their job is below standard or something? How do you look upon someone who is cleaning toilets in one of those colleges or the college that you're standing on right now? I wonder what you think of that person. Do you pity them or something? What exactly is your perspective on someone who doesn't have a job you think worthy of merit?
And place it at the center of our politics.
You want to place the dignity of work at the center of our politics. Okay.
We should remember that work is not only about making a living, it's also about contributing to the common good and winning recognition for doing so.
Again, it depends on who you are and what you're doing. Some people just work to get by, and they're not particularly interested in the common good or anything. Okay, if you want everybody to think the way you think about work, I'm sorry, you failed before you started. I am not bound to look at my job the way you want me to. And I'm not bound to look at somebody who has a job that pays less than I do the way you want me to, as though I should pity them or something. I mean, if they're a grown adult, I'm not going to try to lecture them on what they should be doing to fix their life, unless they ask me for my advice, unless I'm a family member and somehow I know that they have more ability or potential and they're just not using it or something. Maybe there's some tough love kind of reflex that'll take place. But otherwise, if I see someone doing a job, they're doing a job. And I respect them for that. I don't look down on them because it's a job different than mine or a job that I think is below me or something. That's for people like you, the elites.
Robert F. Kennedy put it well half a century ago.
Okay.
Fellowship, community, shared patriotism.
Yeah.
These essential values do not come from just buying and consuming goods together. They come from dignified employment at decent pay.
Okay. And you have a proposal as to how everyone can have dignified employment at decent pay? Or what exactly is the problem you are attempting to tackle here? Because these are all fine sentiments. They'd be great on a Hallmark card. You're not saying anything.
The kind of employment that enables us to say, I helped to build this country.
What does that look like? And if that kind of employment does not include, in your eyes, janitorial work or garbage pickup or secretarial work, if those types of jobs don't fall into your vision of what, quote unquote, builds this country, what do you do with those jobs? Who does those jobs? Or are those things to be pitied or something? Or are those I don't know, undesirable jobs? What are you saying?
I am a participant in its great public ventures.
Or I'm just getting a paycheck so I can pay my rent and occasionally have a movie to watch or something. I mean, not everybody is thinking in the grand scheme of things like you do. I get it. You're an idealist. I'm an idealist to a certain extent. Some of us are just trying to get by. We don't think about the deeper meanings. We mind our own business. We leave other people alone. We pay our bills, and we take some certain amount of pride from being able to take care of ourselves and our families when we can. And sometimes circumstances hit us and we can't, and we have to look for help, or we end up with hardship. That's life, So, some days we're just sitting around, drinking Dr. Pepper, and then the next day a vein in your eye explodes and you think you're going to be half blind for the rest of your life. But then you luck out and you heal up. That's life. I don't know. What are you saying? Tell me a job that is worthy of everybody, or the job, what is the level of job that you would say exemplifies dignity in work? And then tell me about all the jobs that don't. And then tell me about the undignified nature of the people that do those jobs.
This civic sentiment is largely missing from our public life today.
Is it? How do you know? Says who?
We often assume that the money people make is the measure of their contribution to the common good.
We do? Well, you could have fooled me. Because like with the example I had when I was at that friend's house, and their family members said, you know, I'm more successful than you are. I make more money than you do. Oh, guess what? I don't measure success by my pocketbook. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't either. But then I think you're living in a very different world from a lot of us. Thank you, Redneck Ram. I work a labor job to make money to live. That's it. I don't do it for the common good or recognition. I work because I have to. It sucks. That is just life. No greater or lesser dignity, I suppose. Exactly. And thank you so much, Redneck Ram. I appreciate it. That's very generous of you. Yeah. I mean, my dad taught me the value of $1 and the value of taking care of yourself. You know, that rugged individualism I'm often told is so evil in our society. You know, I help out people when I can. I take care of my family if they need it and if I'm able. But mostly I just try to make sure that I'm safe, you know. I grew up in a household that had some very shaky financial times, and maybe I'm a little paranoid about it. You know, I'm not a hoarder or anything, but I just want to make sure my bases are covered, make sure my rent is paid, my bills are paid. You know, it's not extravagant. I don't have dreams of a mansion or having tons of money. I wouldn't want to put myself through the stress necessary to get tons of money if I even could. And that's a choice I make. So if by the time I'm in my grave, there's only enough money left over to pay for the coffin, well, all right. At least I paid for my coffin, and I'm not a burden on anybody else. But I don't think you speak for the majority. I think you speak for a constructed majority that you think. I think you're projecting quite a bit of what the world is to your imagination. Thank you, Gamer Valine. He's a PhD Pepperjack, let me speak, please. He's a PhD philosophy professor. I'm a high school grad that works on machines that make computer parts. Which one is utilized by a wider margin? Yeah. And here's the thing. I'll bet you, I will bet you, there is somebody out there right now who doesn't have a high school diploma, who is making tons more money than our speaker, honestly, through their own labor, their own ideas, their own initiative. And so where does our speaker sit in that situation? About someone, you know, taking advantage of the opportunities in front of them or making opportunities for themselves through initiative and hard work. It's impossible. I should pity somebody who doesn't have a college diploma. Why? I don't pity anybody. I don't think it's inherently someone's fault they don't have a lot of money. It could be choice. It could be circumstance. I don't have a lot of money. You know, could I have a ton of money? I don't know. I've never thought about it. All I've thought about is just taking care of what I need to take care of and maybe having a little insulation in case the roof falls in. That's what I was brought up with. Not extravagancy, not evaluating people on their pocketbooks. You know, my father worked in the auto industry for a long time. And as a consequence, he would be able to bring home a company car, the latest model from time to time, for a good part of my growing up. And so even though my family was middle class at best, we would have these effectively very expensive cars in comparison to drive around because they were company cars. We didn't own them, but, you know, company car. And you know what happened after a while? After being in these sedans that cost more than my my house, the house that I lived in, or these little sporty cars and things that were completely ridiculous things to pay for or own unless you were just had money to burn. You know what I understood after a very short amount of time in my life? A car is 4 wheels and an engine. Everything else after that is just superfluous. And after a brief amount of time, I stopped being impressed by the cars people owned or drove or showed off. Because I was just like, it's not an extension of your value. It's an extension of your expenditure. That's it. It says nothing about who you are. It just says something about the amount of money you're willing to pay for something fancy. Maybe that's the seed of where I've grown up with in being able to just maybe look at the proportionality of things a little bit. Anyway, I have gone off the trail. Let's continue.
But this is a mistake.
Sorry, I've gone so far off the trail, I forgot what he was talking about. I'm going to back up a little bit.
We often assume
Yes.
that the money people make is the measure of their contribution to the common good.
Uh-huh.
But this is a mistake.
You're right. People that actually believe that are making a mistake. You're correct. I think there are far fewer people in the world making that mistake than you assume.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Oh.
explained why.
Oh, okay. Tell me about the content of character versus the color of skin, and then tell me how merit is a tyranny.
Reflecting on a strike by sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, shortly before he was assassinated,
Yes.
King said, "The person who picks up our garbage is, in the final analysis, as significant as the physician. For if he doesn't do his job, diseases are rampant. All labor has dignity."
That's exactly what I said earlier. You're pushing at an open door. Except I think you think you're pushing at an iron wall. You have very, very, very little faith in other people, don't you? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm jaded. I'm a cynic. I don't think I've lost as much hope in people as this guy has, though. Not yet. Give it another couple of years, then maybe.
Today's pandemic makes this clear. It reveals how deeply we rely on workers we often overlook.
Workers we often overlook. I don't know what you mean. I mean, if you're saying, I don't think about nurses all the time, you're right. I don't. I generally don't think about doctors or garbage men or lawyers or something until there's something that occurs in context where I think about that demographic of industry or something. But here's a question for you. Prior to the pandemic, do nurses get paid? Do emergency workers get paid? Do doctors get paid? If they're being compensated for their time, their labor, their effort, and so on by whomever their employer is, are they not being recognized for what they do? No more, no less than the janitor or the garbage man or whatever else. I mean, at a certain point, you got to understand you're not going to receive out and out praise all the time for everything you do, because ultimately, if it's your job, it's your job. You're not going to get a ticker tape parade for doing your job. At most, you can expect to get a paycheck and whatever benefits you signed up for or were promised to begin with. And that's it. And not even then necessarily, especially if you show up one day and the front door to your business is locked and you find out that they closed overnight, which I'm sure has never happened to anybody before. Thank you, Dark Resurrect. Howdy, Scribbles and Chat intellectuals. I'll catch the replay at work. Thank you, Dark Resurrect. Okay.
Delivery workers.
Yes.
Maintenance workers.
Yes.
Grocery store clerks.
Yes.
Warehouse workers.
Yes.
Truckers.
Sure.
Nurse assistants.
Sure.
Childcare workers.
Yes.
Home health care providers.
Yes.
These are not the best paid or most honored workers.
Says you.
But now we see them as essential workers.
You ever see the movie Armageddon? You know, Bruce Willis. What was the plot of that movie? That they found a oil drilling team that was specially trained to do the work necessary to blow up an asteroid headed towards Earth. Prior to the circumstances that necessitated their very special skills come to prominence, they were just oil derrick workers or whatever. Okay. That didn't make their work undignified. That didn't make what they did unnecessary. They were being paid for it. Right? But circumstances changed, and their talents and skills came to prominence under a very extreme and obscure situation. And were they appreciated for their effort? Yes, they came back home and never had to pay taxes again because circumstances necessitated their prominence in that situation. And so, under a exceedingly unique situation, yes, the importance of delivery workers and healthcare workers and so on becomes more apparent. And when this pandemic passes, things will even out again, and they'll still be paid, and there will still be a need for them, and there will still be jobs based on those industries. They may receive, indeed, earned praise now for putting their lives and their safety and their health at risk to do their jobs. And they should be compensated for that hazard, if it is possible, certainly, under the circumstances. Just like a firefighter going into a fire, or someone working under, I don't know, dangerous circumstances, whatever, hazard pay, certainly. But I didn't look at a nurse's assistant before the pandemic and think, what a jerk. Come on. I'm not this cynical, and I'm a cynic.
This is a moment for a public debate about how to bring their pay and recognition into better alignment with the importance of their work.
Okay, you want them to get raises? Okay, go to the individual employers and argue that to them. Otherwise, what are you asking for? Are you asking for a government mandate? Are you asking for the government to supplement individual companies to pay specific workers more money under these circumstances? I'm all for hazard pay during the circumstances. I am. Okay. You know, a nurse's assistant goes into a hospital full of coronavirus infectees or whatever, and putting their health at risk and conceivably their family's health at risk and so on and so forth. I am all for additional pay for hazard work. So what is the argument here? That they weren't appreciated before? Like they were underpaid? Well, I don't know. Which employer are you talking about? Which market are you talking about? What are you talking about?
It is also time for a moral, even spiritual turning, questioning our meritocratic hubris.
A moral or spiritual turning, questioning our meritocratic hubris. You haven't given me an alternative yet. Okay, merit is bad. Meritocracy is bad. Okay, so what is the alternative? What is it? You're downplaying people's personal skill, initiative, hard work, and so on. You're playing up that we should respect people who are in jobs that aren't, I don't know, marquee positions like CEOs or something like most of us have. I mean, who do you think you're talking to? Is this TED Talk simply for the elites that you accuse of being the ones looking down on everybody? I mean, by percentages, aren't you talking to the very people you say deserve better? Well, okay, what are we supposed to do about it? I can't make my employer give me more money in an industry just because you say I'm underserved. Who is this talk for? What argument is being made? You're a philosophy professor? I'm not getting a lot of reasoning out of this.
Do I morally deserve the talents that enable me to flourish?
Do you morally deserve the talents that enable you to flourish? What happens if the answer is no? I am dying to know the answer to that question. What do you do if you believe that you are not morally deserving of your own talents? How exactly would you balance the karmic scales on that one, Professor?
Is it my doing that I live in a society that prizes the talents I happen to have?
Oh! Oh! Tell me again about hubris. Tell me again about hubris, Professor. Oh, the most humble of brags. Oh, Jesus. Wow. Ooh, wait, Dog Cat Fox, what do you have to say to that? Wowie, wow, wow. I know, right? Jeez. All right, Professor. I don't know. This grand burden you possess, these talents that people are just so in need of.
Or is that my good luck?
You know what? Given the quality of this talk, I'm going to say that you lucked out, because it's certainly not talent that brought you here. Certainly not talent that had me filling up the bingo card. All right, real quick, I'm going to go back to the bingo card. Let's see. Plays victim. Yes, I'm circling plays victim. Poor him. He has to question his own ability. Self-vilification or wretchedness. Yes, that too. He's questioning whether his massive talents are actually just luck. Oh God, how does he survive? I don't know. I just don't know. Let's see. I got to go back here. Circle that and circle that, and then let's see. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I'm also going to circle privilege, because he's gone all over the place with basically the privilege he's had. He's questioning his own ability. Oh, because did he get there by luck? Please tell me skin color or something. Let's see, what else? Equity. He's talked about inequity. He's asking for equity. He's looking for equality of outcomes. So I'm circling equity. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. Microaggressions, unconscious bias. I'm teetering on circling unconscious bias because he talks about looking down on people. Actually, no, I'm going to circle unconscious bias. Microaggressions, looking down on people. The elites looking down on people. Okay, boy, oh boy, man, we are close. Oh, this is going to be another one where we're like a square or two off, aren't we? Okay, continuing. We've only got another minute or so left of this.
Insisting that my success is my due makes it hard to see myself in other people's shoes.
Then quit. Quit your job. You obviously don't deserve to be there. If you have to question whether or not you're there on the basis of your own talents and merit, or whether it was just luck that got you there and you've just faked it until you made it here, well, then you already have your answer. Because in that instance, if there is any doubt, there really is no doubt, is there? Quit.
Appreciating the role of luck in life can prompt a certain humility.
Really? Well, okay. Can you at least extend that same consideration to, I don't know, someone who's really rich, who maybe they lucked out? There's a movie I'd recommend people see if they're curious about this kind of concept of like absolute luck, right place, right time. And the details of the story may be apocryphal. I can't tell you, but it's a great little documentary called The Kid Stays in the Picture. And it's about the actor, producer, Robert Evans. And as the story goes, he jumped into one end of a swimming pool, an accountant, and he came out the other end of the swimming pool, a movie star. Now, why that anecdote actually makes sense, you have to watch the movie and hear the story. But sometimes there's a lot of luck. But oftentimes that little bit of luck just opens a door and you have to make the choice to walk through it thereafter. Thank you, Redneck Ram. If only doesn't deserve to be in current occupation was still on the card for this one. I know. Hindsight as it is, but sometimes it fits perfectly, but oftentimes it just didn't. That's the problem. There was this so much dithering over, does this make sense? I think between self-wretchedness and plays victim kind of covers the bases there. But
for the accident of birth, or the grace of God, or the mystery of fate, go I.
Just like everybody else.
This spirit of humility is the civic virtue we need now.
Is it? Humility? Maybe pride. How about civic pride? How about taking pride in your community, pride in your work, pride in your contribution to your family, first and foremost, versus anyone else? Is pride a sin here? Is it?
It's the beginning of a way back from the harsh ethic of success.
The harsh ethic of success. Yeah, don't try to succeed. Obviously, it's too much for you. Don't seek to succeed. It's obvious you just won't. And it's too much work, and it's so hard.
That drives us apart.
Yeah.
It points us beyond the tyranny of merit to a less rancorous, more generous public life.
And it's kind of fitting that it ends on a red screen there. I won't give away the symbolism necessarily, but given the rhetoric. Okay, one more look at the card here. Actually, I'm just going to display the card, and we'll go over it real quick. And you guys tell me if maybe I should fill in some circles. Okay, I need some arguments here because I think I've pretty much worn it out. But let's see. All right, make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. He never brought up race. He never brought up gender. None of that. So I can't circle that one. Marginalization. I mean, you could extrapolate those sentiments from what he's talking about with people in quote unquote less dignified jobs. Yeah, you know what? For the sake of things, I'm going to do that because he was effectively talking about, the elites versus the non-elites. So that's right up there. Attempts to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. That's a tough one. Keeverdam says, attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase with meritocratic combat or something like that. He didn't use that as a buzzword, buzz phrase. It wasn't like it was the title of his deal. It was a fancy turn of phrase. I don't know if I'd say it's a buzz phrase per se. I'll consider it. If you have other arguments, by all means. Feminism, never brought it up. Childhood or family anecdote, he never talked about himself in that sense. He talked about himself personally, but didn't give us any anecdotes. Systemic institutional. He talked about our economic system. He talked about colleges. He talked about that stuff. So I'm circling systemic institutional. Patriarchy, no. Again, surprisingly enough, he never brought up race or gender. I was surprised by that. Contradicts own point or argument. Okay, well, first off, I'd have to understand what his argument or point was. Okay, meritocracy is bad. Okay, so if meritocracy is bad, and he's questioning his own place in his own job based on either luck or talents that people are praising him for, etc., I think the doubt of his own ability and whether or not he's actually in his position by merit or not is just, I don't know. You guys tell me. I'm sitting on the fence on that one. I might be stretching a bit. You guys tell me. Toxic. He never used the word. Weightless example. He never gave us any examples. Not really. Not that I can think of. Takes credit for something done or experienced by others in their demographic. He never did, as far as I can tell. White supremacy, nope, never brought it up. Anecdote that probably never happened, he never gave us an anecdote. He never did. Okay, so going back to the chat, guys, if we're going to get a bingo out of this, I'm going to need a really good argument because I think some of the key squares here are things that he just didn't actually touch upon. On this particular shuffle of the card, we might just be out of luck on this one. Let's see. Buzzword, buzz phrase. That guy hammered meritocratic combat, tyranny of merit, but he kept saying it. Did he say meritocratic combat more than once? I mean, I said it a couple of times, and I had to repeat that part of the video at least twice. Did he? Let's see. Lexi Mads. I circled take credit for something done experienced by others in the demographic. I feel like he's speaking for all at his level. Oh, well, I mean, he was projecting. I don't know. Does that encompass like projection? Like taking credit? Oh boy, that's, I don't know. Lexi makes an interesting point. You guys let me know. Let's see. Zeke Weiss, I say he did contradict his point by the Martin Luther King quote. You know, that is true. Bringing up Martin Luther King when it comes to arguing that merit somehow is toxic or corruptive or corrosive or something. Yeah, okay, I'll circle that one. So, oh, sorry, I gotta update the, I gotta update this tab with the changes. There we go. So that's what the card's looking like right now. Let's see. No one nowhere. Centralized planning was his point. Could have been. Let's see. Ryan says, Skylight, pass me the pepper jack bottle. I need a drink after listening to this guy's babble. I know, right? Parody Bear, weightless example. Oh, I mean, does the Martin Luther King quote constitute a weightless example? I mean, he was trying to say that people who work in the, I guess, menial jobs of the world, the labor jobs, are on equal footing with, as far as importance, as people who do other jobs because, you know, of the comparison he made. So in that sense, I don't think it's a weightless example, that quote. But bringing up King and not also admitting to the other sentiments that King is most famously known for, and even the sentiment that would follow from that same example, right? That someone who's doing the garbage pickup is on equal footing as far as importance in society as a doctor because they both work on the basis of their own merit towards the common end of a better society. So I don't know if it's a weightless example. Kieverdam, is common good a buzz phrase yet? The common good, the greater good. I mean, it might have been a buzz phrase a zillion years ago. It's not really a buzz phrase now. Let's see. Corey Suzuki, didn't he shun garbage men, but then quote MLK praising them? Well, yeah, I mean, he basically said anybody without a college diploma has to work these terrible jobs that are undeserving of them, but then is like, and yet, you know, garbage workers are on equal footing as doctors. And like, well, you don't need a college diploma necessarily to become a garbage collector. So does that make their work somehow undignified then because they lack a college degree or don't necessarily need one for that job? Yeah, actually, you know what? That does make it a weightless example to his argument then. If he's going to be praising people who don't necessarily need a college degree, but then denigrating the idea that not having a college degree is somehow beneath people or something. So, yeah, okay. I will update that one. Boy, oh boy, guys, we are so close, and I don't know if we can go much further without completely stretching things. Let's see. Bingo. Where's a bingo? Did I miss something? I don't see a bingo. Let's see. Oh, you did circle buzz phrase? Oh, okay. Meritocratic combat, tyranny of merit. Okay, you know what? All right. And chat, I need you to be honest about this. Okay. Do you think that meritocratic combat, even though it is a unique phrase, does that qualify as a buzz phrase? If you think it does, in all honesty, put a 1 in the chat. If you do not think it does, put a 2. Okay, not just to get a bingo. Do you honestly believe that qualifies? Put a 1 if yes, put a 2 if no. Okay. Ryan says 1. Lexi, of course, says 1. Check Your Logic says 7. Vera Vash says 2. Advocata says 2. He was just using it in passing. Buzz phrase 1, 2, 1. Yes, 1, 1. He pushed it over and over. If he kept repeating. How many times did he say it? I think he only said it the 1 time, didn't he? Or did he say it twice? 1, 1, 2, 1, because I think he's wanted to become 1, 2, 1, honestly, 2. All right. You know what? I'm enough on the fence. And given the meat of his attempt there, just by a hair, guys. This is like the 2 horses coming to the finish line and just a nose above. Given his unconfessed arrogance and given the lackadaisical way that he tried to push the whole evil of merit. Okay. All right. By a nose, guys. By a nose. We'll eke out a bingo. I think in aggregate, his whole toxicity, well, not toxicity, well, he did say corrosive. I guess I could, no, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to give you that one. I'm not going to go for a double bingo on that one and just go with the synonyms. But on the case of at least in aggregate, his pushing of the whole evil of merit and combat thereof.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Right?
Yeah!
All right, guys, we have a bingo. Just by a smidge. Just by a smidge. I think I might be too generous here, but it is done. All right. And I think his nonsense, if nothing else, probably also rates a bit of consideration there. So with that, guys, we are at the end of the show. I'm going to wrap it up here with our very, very yep, and I zapped myself out of my own show because, you know, that's what you do, right? That's what you do. Clicked on the wrong tab and the wrong thing. Oh, well, it happens. Either way, guys, I'm going to call it there. Live TV, everybody. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this one. This was a bit of a slog, certainly. Don't know if I could have gotten through it without you. Certainly would not have made it to a bingo without your thoughtful argumentation. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you so much for your participation. And thank you so much for your generosity. I really, really do appreciate it. If you would like to hear more from me or the Ranting Monkey or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find all 3 of us tonight on the Ranting Monkeys channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for The Lords of the Night, where we will talk about the news of the day, news stories that you submit, what we've been up to on the intertubes, and then your questions and comments. As for tomorrow on Sunday, I may be doing a broadcast. I'll let you know on Twitter. Be sure to follow me. Links in the description. It all depends on timing and scheduling with other people potentially, but we'll see. Until then, guys, again, thank you for coming. I hope you are all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.